Our Public Schools District Supervisor, Ma'am Dolores G. Lagmay, I have the honor and privilege to present to you the 288 capable, deserving, and resilient graduates and the equally deserving 211 completers in the kindergarten of Badipa Elementary School who have successfully completed the K-12 basic education curriculum for your acceptance and confirmation, ma'am.
By virtue of the authority delegated upon me by the school's division superintendent, Madam Fatima Arbuato Seso 6, and with the strong recommendation of the school principal, Madam Plida Is Andrada, that you have satisfactorily completed all the requirements of the K-12 basic education curriculum prescribed by the Department of Education, I do hereby accept, confirm, and proclaim you as completers, graduates of Badipa Elementary School this school year 2020-2021 with all the rights and privileges thereunto appertaining. Congratulations.
Let's all welcome the Academic Excellence Awardees of Batch 2021.
Here are the Academic Excellence Awardees of Grade 6 Matthew.
Under the advisory of Mr. Joshua Tabili.
With high honors, Rui Aya L. Aben. With high honors, parents Mr. and Mrs. Allen Edward C. Aben. Chalis Mia J. Ayubali. With high honors, parents Mr. and Mrs. Mohammed Ali A. Ayubali. Christine Joyce F. Duzon. With high honors, parents Mr. and Mrs. Romeo S. Duzon. Luis Sheen R. Nicolas. With high honors, parents Mr. and Mrs. Conrado M. Nicolas. Here are the Academic Excellence Awardees of Grade 6 Matthew with honors. Alea Gianna D. Ambrosio with honors. Parent Ms. Grisha Crisana A. Duzon. Janelia M. Ang with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Q. Ang. Santino L. Angeles with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuel C. Angeles. Angelo Allen P. Bahit with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Amado P. Bahit. Ashley May M. Borge with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Jovimar R. Borge. Juriel A. Cadlo with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Julius T. Cadlo. Kylie Q. Cantor with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Freddie A. Cantor. Ashley Ruth B. Carino with honors. Parent Ms. Janet A. Balbarino. Princess May M. Centino with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Manuel P. Centino. Gabriel B. Echevarria with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Joey Echevarria. Janea Kyrene E. Espelita with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Andrian S. Espelita. Charles Lawrence V. Espiritu with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. RJ C. Espiritu. Wayne Chester T. Farag with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Muhammad D. Farag. Anika R. Holtland with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Peter G. Holtland. Arian Joy Q. Jacob with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Arnulfo A. Jacob. John Alvic A. Jacob with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Alan G. Jacob. Richard D. Jimenez with honors. Parents Mr. and Mrs. Moises A. Jimenez. Charis D. Morales with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo G. Morales. Trina Maybell A. Oria, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynante V. Oria. Eliza Nicole B. Pablo, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Efren B. Pablo Sr. Lorraine May F. Pangilinan, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Elgin D. Pangilinan. Hazel Joy V. Ramos, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Helcias D. Ramos. Daphne Joyce B. Revollido, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rosendo A. Revollido. Zyla Wimsey G. Serafica, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Woody S. Serafica Jr. Alessa Faith B. Sibayan, with honors. Parent, Mrs. Alona M. Bahia. Nick Xander D. Tarlit, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel E. Tarlit. Marian Luis S. Tugas, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marlu J. Tugas. Trisha May E. Urap, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marcelino L. Urap Jr. Roya Eliza M. Vergara, with honors.
Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruel Vergara.
Marcelane S. Villanueva, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marcelino D. Villanueva Jr. Robbie Jane M. Viraque, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roberto B. Viraque Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the Academic Excellence Awardees in Grade 6 Mark. Advisor, Mrs. Lorna R. Nicolas. Lara Janine S. Ano, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerry D. Alog. Angeline R. Aloran, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Macario A. Aloran. Rachel S. Ave, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronald R. Ave. Casey B. Ballesteros, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roberto U. Ballesteros. Roldan S. Vergado Jr., with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Roldan S. Vergado Sr. Sophia May P. Gutiaman, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manuel L. Gutiaman. Francesca G. De La Cruz, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Erickson R. De La Cruz. Noah A. Gagarin, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo S. Gagarin. Winnie Angel C. Galsin, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Anthony B. Galsin. Shamel Paloma B. Gamboa, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Philip S. Gamboa. Joaquin Benedict D. Gozon, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Russell D. Gozon. Keisha Cyrage C. Mamasig, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeric R. Mamasig. Angela R. Quines, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Aurelio Quines. McKinley James D. Riasonda, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Freddie A. Riasonda. Jessa M. Sikig, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gabrielio B. Sikig. Prince Jefferson B. Soriano, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey V. Soriano. Jonalyn M. Terrado, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronald S. Terrado. Candice Jewel D. Thurston, with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joel E. Thurston. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Academic Excellence Awardees in Grade 6 mark.
Moving on to the awarding of certificates of the class 2020 to 2021, it starts with the Grade 6 Matthew under the advisory of Mr. Joshua G. Tabilin. Grade 6 mark under the advisory of Mrs. Lorna R. Nicolas. Grade 6 look under the advisory of Miss JVG Arellano. Grade 6 John under the advisory of Miss Grecia Crisana A. Duzon. Grade 6 acts under the advisory of Mr. Wilson M. Agbanlog. Grade 6 Genesis under the advisory of Mrs. Rowena Lynn E. Istantino. Grade 6 Exodus under the advisory of Miss Casilyn P. Cuison. Grade 6 Romance under the advisory of Mr. Jeffrey M. Soriano.
Aya L. Abin is the valedictorian of Class 2021. She is the brilliant daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Allen Edward C. Abin. She has achieved tons of accolades and significant awards as a learner. At this moment, may we request Rui Aya L. Abin for her valedictory address.
The very capable and hardworking Schools Division Superintendent, Madam Fatima R. Buato, and to her equally competent Assistant Division Superintendent, Dr. Russell Jean Tamali. The notably kind-hearted and one of the admirable Public Schools District Supervisor, Madam Dolores G. Lagmay. The noblest and motherly school principal, Madam Lida S. Andrada. The solicitous and dedicated grade 6 teachers of Badip Elementary School, respected guests, family, and friends. Good morning. I am deeply honored to deliver my speech before all of you today, representing the graduating class of 2021, not because of all the awards I've received, but because I am part of a truly outstanding batch from a truly outstanding school. Isang pagpupugay sa batch 2021. Opo, nakaya natin at makakaya pa natin ito. This is really a different and challenging, yet very remarkable graduation because we are graduating in the midst of a global pandemic. This is the year when all of us feel that our school didn't feel like school at all. When classmates and teachers were mostly thumbnail images on a flickering screen. When faces and emotions were masked and the country shrouded in disease, death, and discord. But still, all of us are keep on trying to find shards of light and purpose. The past months have certainly been tough and unforgiving, but if there are 3 things I can take away from everything, these are to have faith in God, be strong, and be courageous. We suffered a lot this year because of the pandemic, and I guess we are stronger than we think we are. Even when we're all remote, everyone put a lot of effort into trying to stay engaged, and trying to make classes engaging, and trying to relate to each other. Batchmates, all of us may have lost all the chances in our last year of elementary due to COVID-19. It was not what we had planned, but it's definitely an experience that will affect our lives forever and a memory that we will never, ever forget. We are made up of our experiences and memories. All of the things that we have been through up to this point make us who we are. The best part is, we're not done yet. We'll continue to experience things, make memories every day that mold us here and there, and to who we truly are and who we are meant to become. At this point, I would like to recognize the sacrifice, unconditional love, and endless support of our parents, families, and loved ones. Especially my mom and dad, Mama Juliet, Mama Lee, Papa Crisanto, Tita Laika, and Tito Clarence, for they served as my backbone. Thank you for always being there to cheer me up when I feel like giving up. You have supported me at all my endeavors and guided me in every step I took. Thank you for giving me the opportunities to discover my full potential, not only the 4 horizons of Badip Elementary School, but also in the real world. Mami Danica and Mama Juliet, you were my first teachers. With you, I learned the value of hard work and studies. Pagyamanak iti tunggal biyag ko, iti amin nga adal ana isuruyo kanya. Now, let us reminisce the past. 5 years ago, we walked into our kindergarten classrooms, wondrous and with countless questions in our young minds. Can we ever forget the first day in school? Struggling to write our names, to read and recite the alphabet, to count, add, subtract, and later on to multiply and divide. Later, as we progress through our primary level and then our intermediate level, we were able to decipher the complexities of mathematics, of the languages, and the wonders of science. These were some of the exciting times in our lives. We were given new privileges and as well as new responsibilities. On that note, let me express my highest gratitude to all of the teachers of Badipa Elementary School, and I would like to special mention all my advisors from kindergarten to grade 6, for they molded me to become empowered and armored pupil ready for the next level. Agyamanak nga agnanayan kada kayo ang manursurok na lipod kindergarten agingga na grade 6. Maestra Aurora Bautista, Maestra Georgie Singh, Maestra Rowena Domingo, Maestra Rufina Kaabay, Maestra Veronica Manicon, Maestro Victor Gregory Habinilio, ken, syempre, ni Maestro Joshua Tabilin. Madi kayo alipatan, ta, na imula dito'y panunod, ken pusok, iti adal nga inpaayo kanya. Kastamat ti panagyaman ko, dagiti mentors, an nangisuro kanya, tapno mabigbig pa iti laeng ken kalentok nga inpaay ni Apo. Saan lang iti school level, mudikit di agingga na national level. Si kayo tinagsukog kanya, kagakwanan ang naawat ko ti amin agundawan. Maestro Georgie C., Maestro Manny Quezon, Maestro Ferfil Lim, Maestro Victor Gregory Habinilio, Maestra Georgina Fabro, ken Maestra Caroline Aquino. Agsubli ako ditoy ang nagadala. Sa ngabulo atawen manipod itagta. No, ipalubos niya ako, man nakabalin, may sa akton a dignified person nga ipanpanakal ti alma mater ko. Our teachers truly endowed us the gift of literacy, legacy, and most especially from whom all wisdom flows. Above all, I would like to thank God Almighty, for without Him, none of these would have been possible. I offer this to you, dear God. Thank you for guiding me and my family. To the graduates of 2021, here before me and behind your screens, I have shared with you my story, our story, and the current conditions that span the world. May we all continue to conquer our battles. And lastly, iiwan ko sa inyong itong mga katagang. Huwag matakot sumubok ng mga bagay na magbibigay motivation sa mga pangarap natin. Hindi man to magbunga ng maganda. At least natuto tayo at handa na tayong sumubok muli at sumubok ng bagay. Again, this is Rui Aya Lalika Aben, forever Badipanians, and your class valedictorian. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang batch 2021.
Okay.
Now, may we have Chalice Mia J. Ayubali to deliver the Pledge of the Graduates.
Please raise your right hand and follow after me. Pledge of the Graduates. We, the graduates, do hereby solemnly pledge that we shall always continue faithfully the search for the truth, goodness, and usefulness to which our alma mater stands, with a firm belief that is in and from us. We promise to devote ourselves to uphold all it teaches us and stand for, to promote the welfare of our families and communities in particular, and all our fellow men in general. We will forever strive to live in accordance with the core values of the Department of Education and with the highest Filipino ideals and principles which our heroes and forefathers died for. We pledge our best in the performance of all these and do the honor not only for ourselves, but for our parents and teachers as well, who sacrifice a lot for us, and to our beloved Badipa Elementary School. So, help us, God.
At this point in time, let us lend our ears to Christine May Duzon as she delivers her closing remarks.
With pride and admiration, I would like to congratulate our batch graduates of Class 2021. Today marks the culmination of our hard work and sacrifices you exerted in the years of our stay in our alma mater. It is also another milestone in our life as successfully hurdled the challenges that we encountered in this first ever modular class. Our actual graduation may have been impeded by the current pandemic. However, it did not stop us from celebrating this once-in-a-lifetime moment. It may be a lot different from the usual graduation ceremony we have experienced, but it should constantly remind us of the uniqueness of the experience. From our batch will come new breed of professionals in the future who have been molded by the virtues and discipline and understanding as values that emanates from our battle against COVID-19. As we live our elementary days, we will carry the great life lesson which our teachers have untiringly instilled in our hearts and minds. Let's continue to hone our knowledge, talents, and skills for us to be ready in our next level of education. From this day forward, I am challenging my fellow graduates to continue our journey until we reach the pinnacle of our success. Badipanyans, let's yonder and make a difference. May God's graces be with us as we step ahead of our dreams. And to all people who are with us today in witnessing our most memorable day of our elementary life, thank you very much. God bless everyone.
We might not be walking across that stage with the cameras flashing. They've been waiting on our day. It's been a journey, hasn't it? I wouldn't trade a moment. No, I wouldn't change a moment. I'm who I am because of you. Whether we've known each other our whole life or just a year or two, and I'm grateful moment.